So now that the Destiny 2 beta is over for PC, we're going to talk about something that's a big concern that will literally ruin Destiny 2 on the PC if it's not addressed. Destiny as a franchise started with consoles in mind, right? The first game was exclusive to Xbox and PlayStation platforms, and the game design reflects this. Now, Destiny 2's beta is very similar in gameplay structure to the first game. This also presents a set of issues for PC, but we'll focus on the biggest one: aim assist. Aim assist is a mechanic which gives the player a bit of extra accuracy when firing at other players. It does this by sort of magnetizing the reticle onto other players when it's near them. This has the effect of making it easier to shoot and connect with the larger motions of the joystick while moving, etc. And that's fine and great for consoles for the most part, makes the game more playable and generally more fun for the average player while propping up the players perhaps on the wrong end of the bell curve that is skill. It's even fine on PC if confined to PvE environments where no player's fun is going to be diminished by it. But it's not confined to just PvE, and in PvP, one of the central draws and selling points of Destiny 2, it presents a problem. Here's why. 1. It decreases the skill gap. So in PvP, which Destiny 2 is going to be more focused on, as Bungie's been saying, when gameplay mechanics heavily favor some players over others in an environment that's meant to be balanced, there's something not working right. That sort of balancing will serve to just increase frustration due to loss and de-emphasize victory when you get it. You know, when you lose, it's loss because Bungie gave free aimbots to controller users, and you're thinking that the only reason I lost that game is because the enemy team was using controllers and I wasn't. When you win, it's difficult to determine what was earned by skill and what was given by that crutch. You're thinking then, how much of what I just did was my sort of skill, or was it just that my whole team was using controllers? 2. It opens a Pandora's box for cheating. This is already happening in the beta. If you just plug in a controller, it will add the aim assist mechanic even when you're playing with a mouse and keyboard. And you can see that in a lot of these clips, and this is not something you want to have happening. But see, the thing is, even when that gets fixed, the whole mechanic is still in the game, and Bungie, as is going to have a lot to deal with trying to catch cheaters, be it, lag switchers or modders or boosters on PC. How are they going to be able to track and ban players using their controllers to that end? People will constantly find ways to abuse this mechanic, and it will be a never-ending chase to try and corral the exploitation of auto-aim at the expense of the everyday player. If you're an everyday player, you're either going to get like a misdirected ban thrown at you at some point, or you're going to lose to people using auto-aim. It's just the reality we're facing. 3. PvP will be taken less seriously. How much of your awesome performance will you take to heart knowing that there are Bungie-sanctioned aimbots backing you up, or among the player base in general? The only thing keeping aim assist will do is alienate the committed veteran fanbase and repel casual players. Any sort of e-sport use of Destiny will be a joke, and with good reason. It's not a good indicator of skill. 4. It reduces the value of the game. When people don't value the competitive aspects of the game, it leaves only PvE, which, that's a big community, that's half the community, and I shouldn't understate that. But we're losing half the people, right? We're alienating half the community, and they're going to focus more on PvP in this title. That's been said, that's sort of established. Extending from the prior point, there's not a reason to choose Destiny 2 over CSGO or Overwatch if you want a competitive experience. It's not a good indicator of skill, and it kind of serves only to frustrate those who play it without using the built-in aim assist. PvE is fun and all, but in the end, it's really repetitive and only props up a very core, hardcore, dedicated fan base, and that's not a lot of people. Now, I'm not a good competitive player. Not at all, never have been, probably never will be. But when I picked up a controller on the Destiny 2 beta, I couldn't be stopped. I was going off. I recorded consecutive games going 28-4, 32-6, and 12-1. And after that, I was thinking, something's not happening right. This never happened with me before. And as it turns out, it was using a controller. The fact is that, I am performing at that level alone without a fire team for the most part, indicates an issue. 5. Forcing console mechanics on a PC game. This is the ultimate issue, right? Forcing console mechanics onto a PC version of a game where they have no place. Give credit to Bungie. Destiny 2's beta does not feel like a bad console port, but the fundamental design of the game, born from Destiny 1, is clearly made with consoles in mind, not with PC. Any sort of aim assist in multiplayer needs to be heavily regulated for it to be successful, and that's not possible for the reasons I mentioned before. The only approach I think that might work is isolating controller players and non-controller players, like in Grand Theft Auto 5 PC. That's the thing though, it's impossible to track. Someone will always be finding a way to exploit that aimbot, if it's even in the game at all, period. And ultimately, in the long run, that will really harm the game. We saw how the Halo community died out. That's not so much due to like auto-aim, but I could see a similar sort of trend developing in Destiny if this isn't addressed and fixed. The problem is not with auto-aim existing in the game. The problem is it exists in this part of the game, PvP. In PvE, that's great. Keep it. It's fun. It makes the game more entertaining. It doesn't harm anyone else by giving direct advantages to their opposition. But in PvP, it's a non-choice. It's gotta go. It doesn't make sense to keep the mechanic in the game. It will just serve to reduce fun, decrease the viability of multiplayer, and by extension, damage the reputation of Destiny 2 and alienate the player base, casual and hardcore. Speaking as a longtime Destiny player, and before that, Halo, I would enjoy dedicating time to playing PvP in Destiny, and knowing that what I perform at, I've earned that. My skill dictates how far I'm gonna go, and how good my stats are gonna be. If it's opaque and I'm not sure if I'm doing well because it's an aimbot or not, then what's sort of the point? I could just play another game that gives a better experience of that. And PvE is fun again, but there's no reason to play it a lot because it's so repetitive. And so, that's all we got to say about that. Leave a comment if you think differently. But this really's got to get fixed. Thanks for watching.
Those are your life, Guardian. Keep fighting. You'll get it.